How are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. What if I told you that the guy you like is using you? What if I also told you, without a proper understanding of how this happens, you could have this going on without ever knowing that it's happening until you've been taken advantage of? If that's horrible to you, good, because on today's show, we're going to be discussing 5 signs that a man is using you. That way, you don't get played like a fool, and instead, you're the one with the upper hand in the relationship. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Welcome, all you beautiful people. It's so good to see you and have you a part of the show. How are you all doing today? Who we got in the chat today? I see we got Sneaky up in here. We got Faith here, M here, Erica here, Hannah here, Kayla T, Sasha here, Manka here, okay. Miss Lee here, Adorable here, Queen is here, and of course, we got our 3 moderators, Scotty, Sharice, and SH here. Shout out to them in the TikTok chat. Who we got up in the YouTube chat? I see we got Minnie here, Erica here, Nicole T here, Mary here. We got Nicole, our YouTube member here. Okay, we got also Amal, one of our amazing YouTube members. Ivy, one of the OG YouTube members. We got Great Fortune Cookie Wisdom. Also, shout out to Great Fortune Cookie. She says she's got her master's in communication, and she really likes what's going on in the show. So thank you and welcome, Great Fortune Cookie. And also, of course, thank you to the most amazing Missy America, our school principal here, who handles a lot. All right, let's get started, chat. I'm glad to see you. Hope you had a good Monday, because the Monday was the last time we've seen each other. Okay, let's get started with number 1 here. Okay, gonna be a very interesting day today. Now, what I'm going to attempt to do for you all today, because, you know, we do want to keep it fresh and new, and I constantly want to be giving you guys new information. We are not going to go through the atypical types of ways a guy will show you that he's using you, okay? So for example, just trying to sleep with you all the time, right? That's pretty, you know, a little bit more obvious. We're gonna kind of go through the emotional and, you know, more subtle ways that you might not notice that this is happening, but it is definitely happening, and he is definitely using you, all right? So let's start off with our number 1 here, which is a very common one. Put it down here. Okay, so number 1 here is our hamster wheel. Now, the hamster wheel, you guys might have heard me refer to this before. The hamster wheel is a situation and a cycle that you're going to find yourself going through, not physically, but emotionally, with the guy that you're that is using you, because of the fact that he's using you. So let's kind of go through this. I'm going to put it in a visual so that we can all kind of better understand this. So, of course, you guys start off where you're, let's just say, together. Okay, so that's kind of the beginning stages of things, right? Things are going well, you guys are good, you're exclusive, everyone's kind of aware of what's going on. Then, as time goes on, there's a transition period into him making a mistake. Maybe he cheats on you, maybe he sleeps with another woman, maybe he disrespects you. Something goes on in your relationship that goes awry. Okay, we all make mistakes, we're human beings. But here's the very interesting part about this. See, after the mistake comes something very interesting that I want you to take notice of, which we'll describe as the apology. Now, there's nothing wrong with making a mistake and apologizing for it. But here's the very interesting part about this hamster wheel here is, see, when someone makes a mistake with you, and they actually wrong you or upset you or disrespect you, whatever the situation may be, they're supposed to be remorseful about their actions, their approach, and want to change that so that the future of your relationship can continue to be better and better, and that you guys don't continue to see the same mistakes over and over again. Here's the problem in this case with the hamster wheel, though. See, when you're together and the men make a mistake and they're using you, they'll apologize not because they're remorseful or want to make a change or have this relationship be better. They're going to apologize because they want to get back to this state, which is together. Because you want to know what some of the things come with being together, he gets to pipe you out. Okay, that's fun for him. Hopefully it's some sort of fun for you. You're probably counting ceiling tiles, but at least he's getting some enjoyment out of it. And if he's getting enjoyment out of it and he knows when you're angry or upset with him, he's not going to be able to jackrabbit himself inside of you, that's very disappointing to him. So he quickly gives you a cheap apology so that you feel good, or at least can convince yourself that it's okay to let him back into your life. And then what ends up happening, right? In this hamster wheel, you forgive him, and then you guys are together again, but the cycle continues, right? So it's a hamster wheel because you continuously go in circles. Now, in this case, you're going in circles with the same mistake, and that's why it becomes a hamster wheel, because the guy that you're dating or seeing that's using you is not actually focused on bettering this relationship. Because bettering this relationship would be making the mistake the first time, having a conversation, understanding what the fixes are or the resolution is, and then actually taking action towards making adjustments so that this doesn't continue to be an ongoing issue, right? That's part of building a relationship with someone on both sides. But the men that are using you are going to keep making the same mistakes over and over again in the exact same ways for the exact same reason. And you're going to start feeling like you're having deja vu with the guy. All right. So a clear sign that a man is using you is when the issues that you're having in your relationship, the fights or the ways you feel disrespected, right, start to feel like you're having deja vu. When you start to feel like you're literally saying the exact same thing to him about a situation that was so similar, you're actually not sure if this was the situation or you're talking about a situation from the past, you're in a hamster wheel. Because all that's going to happen is he's going to give you some sort of cheap apology. Oh, I miss you. I'm sorry. I think you're amazing. Don't you miss when I used to jackrabbit myself inside of you? Don't you miss when we used to cuddle on the couch and stare in each other's eyes, right? A cheap apology, just enough for you to say, well, I do miss you too. Well, I do like you too. Well, I do, want to be with you as well. And then what happens? You forgive him and you guys get back together. But the problem is, in this forgiveness and in this apology, there were no, okay, there were no actionable items. Okay, so one of the things that you're going to notice in a hamster wheel of a relationship when a man is using you is every time he apologizes, because this is the really key pivotal point here in the hamster wheel. Every time he apologizes to you, there will be no actionable items. Actionable items just mean, okay, we've identified the problem. We've identified why it's a problem. You've discussed your side. I've discussed my side. Now, we can't continue to have this be a problem. So the two of us must come up with actionable items, meaning ways that we can actually make adjustments in our relationship, whether it be on your side or my side, that will not have us experiencing the same pain or the same issue or the same disagreement. Actionable items are so important in terms of an apology because without actionable items, you will be in this same situation. And so essentially, when a man puts you in a hamster wheel like this, where you're constantly forgiving him for the same mistake over and over and over again, you're in a hamster wheel. Because none of these apologies, no matter how often they might come, and no matter how genuine they might seem in a text, or how sincere because his eyes are watering, without any actionable items, you're going to forgive him. You guys will get back together. And especially when he's using you, that mistake will just continue cycling and cycling and cycling and cycling, because the guys who are using you have no intention of actually growing with you or building with you. So they don't need to change anything. They don't want to change anything. In fact, the only reason they're apologizing is because at this point where there's an issue between you two, you're no longer giving him what he wants, which is access to you. And that, remember, I tell you guys all the time, men aren't evil, but they are opportunists. Meaning when they recognize that access to someone that they've been getting access to has ceased to exist, that's when they're going to say to themselves, okay, now I need to make an adjustment. All right. Does that make sense to all of you so far in number one and why that's so important? All right. Hamster wheel is not good. If you feel like you're having deja vu, that's not good. All right. Let's hop into number two. Okay. Number two is an interesting one. Okay. And I'm sure it's happened to a lot of us. Hopefully now it'll be easier to recognize. Okay, number two. Okay, the guilt trip. I wish my marker could be super dark here. Now, see, in the guilt trip, it's very interesting because we all make mistakes. But when a guy is using you, he's going to want you to believe that you're the only person who makes mistakes for a very particular reason. So in order for us to understand how this kind of works and why this is important, we're going to kind of use a little bit of a Christmassy theme here. So for those of you who believe in Christmas or have at least heard of Christmas before, I hope you've heard of Christmas. We're in the season, okay? Now, you know, we have a thing, you know, called Santas, right? We have Santa's naughty and nice list, okay? I need a dark marker here. So on one side, I'll make this dark. We have the nice. And on the other side, we have the naughty, okay? Now, on each one of these lists, right, there is a list of people that are here, right? All these different names, right? Some people are naughty and some people are nice. And the ones who are nice, they get presents and gifts. And the ones who are naughty, they get no presents and gifts. Someone said, I'm naughty. Tell me in the chat, which one are you? Are you naughty or are you on the nice list this year? Okay, so here's the thing. See, if you're here on the nice list, and your man is here on the nice list, everything is all good, okay? The problem starts when one person or the other is on the naughty list. Because essentially, when we think about the naughty list in terms of Santa's naughty and nice list, the people who are on the naughty list all want to eventually get back here, right? Because the people on the naughty list, we can say here, they have to change. They have to change something about themselves, something about the way they act, something about their approach is putting them on this naughty list. And people on the naughty list don't want to be there. People on the nice list, they want to stay there. So essentially, people on the nice list don't have to change. Why? Because you're on the nice list. So everything you've been doing is working and you want to stay there. Now, here's the really interesting thing about a guilt trip and why this is so important. See, if your man can make you feel like you're over here, on this naughty list, what happens then? Then you feel like you need to change. Change something about yourself, change something about your approach, change something about this relationship because it's not working. Why? You want to go back over here and be on this nice list, like anyone on the naughty list would. So let's tie this back into your relationships and how this kind of all correlates. See, the thing about it is, a guilt trip is a great way for a man who's using you to get you to feel like you need to change something about yourself or your approach. Now, this is the specific thing that a man who's using you will want or make you feel like you have to change in order to get back on this nice list. See, what the men will want you to change is your level of investment. I don't feel like you're that serious about me in this relationship. I don't feel you're taking it as serious as me. I don't think you like me as much as I like you. I don't think you want this badly enough. Okay, that's the guilt trip here. And this is great for them because when they can make you feel like you're on the naughty list because you're not as invested in this relationship as he is, you're not taking it as serious as he is. Now, in order for you to feel like you go back onto the nice list, you think that what you have to change is your level of investment, your level of seriousness, right, that you bring to this relationship. So what ends up happening? You end up starting to say, okay, if this guy doesn't think I'm invested or I'm serious, I'm going to have to figure out how I can make myself look more serious. So what do you end up doing? You end up saying, I've got to give him more wifey treatment. I've got to go above and beyond. I've got to make myself available to him 24/7. I've got to show him that I can answer the phone at midnight, at 4 a.m., at 3 a.m. when I'm half asleep. I've got to show him that I can take shifts off. I've got to show him that I'll drive 1 hour, 2 hours. I've got to show him I'll call him every single day, text him every single day, just so I can get back on this nice list. Because this guy's made me feel like I'm on the naughty list. Okay? And so this is the whole game here when a guy is using you. He wants to guilt trip you and convince you that you haven't been invested. That way, you start scrambling, trying to prove something to him that you are invested. But the moment you do that, he then says, perfect, I've got you where I want you. Fumbling and stumbling, like running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to impress me, trying to prove something to me, trying to show me that you're serious. Now, what do I have to do less of as the man? I have to prove nothing to you. I just sit back and we've actually now swapped positions. I'm now the one receiving all of this stuff that you're trying to prove. As you're trying to join the nice list, you're trying to figure out all the things you have to change. But me, I'm on the nice list already. So I don't have to change anything about myself. I just have to judge you on whether or not you're earning your spot on the nice list. Are you following me? And this can be very dangerous for you because once you get into this mode, trying to join the nice list, trying to prove to him something, you will begin overextending yourself to try to convince him that you're as serious as he is. But by the time you end up doing that, only after he takes advantage of you and wastes a whole bunch of your time, will you realize that he was never serious about you. All he wanted was for you to overly invest yourself while he sat back, relaxed, and received from you. And you didn't take notice of what was going on because all of your focus was on giving him more and more and more and more. See, the funny thing about this is when you're on the naughty list and you're trying to rejoin the nice list here, you can't be focused on what you're getting or receiving from him. You can't be focused on evaluating whether he's showing you what you want in a relationship or as a partner. Why? Because all of your energy and your focus is on trying to show him that you're actually as serious as he wants you to be. Okay? And that's a very dangerous place to be because you can't judge the relationship, but you're also overextending yourself at the same time. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Okay. Someone says that's exactly what happened. It'd be like that. Okay. Mimi says I can't deal with these master manipulators. I mean, it really do be happening. So if any of this resonates with you, there's a reason for that, right? Because you've probably experienced this or know of this or have at least seen a friend go through this. Okay, so that must mean there's some sort of truth to it. I'm just here to break it down to you a little bit more. All right, let's hop into number 3. Okay, I know the guilt trip one's a little bit painful. So number 3 is a really interesting one that I want to kind of share with you, and I think it's super important to understand. Okay, so number 3 here. Let's make sure this is nice and dark. You guys like the squeaking of my board here as I'm writing? Let's get this. Nah, that's darker. Okay. So, being unreliable can be a very dangerous thing in your relationships. And one of the biggest signs that a man is using you is when he becomes unreliable to you. So, you're going to notice a pattern here. So, let's say you are here, right? And this guy is, we'll put him over here. Now, something very important is going to be happening. See, there are different circumstances under which the both of you will be connecting. And see, some of those circumstances will work for him and some of those circumstances will not work for him. So, for example, if the two of you are having pineapples, having sex, there will be a connection here. Meaning, if you want him to come over and jackrabbit himself inside of you, and you text him that or you call him that, oh, for sure, he'll figure out a way to drive an hour. He'll figure out a way to drive 2 hours. He'll figure out a way to be there if he has to, if it's about sleeping together, okay? Or anything related to that. Now, what you're going to take note, what I want you to take notice of in a less obvious sense is the times where you might need something of him or call him up for something and you guys don't connect. So let's say for the sake of example, you need, let's just say, a ride, right? When you need a ride, there will be no connection between the two of you. Why? Because when you need something that's not related to what he wants from you or is willing to give you, you won't really be able to get him on the phone. When you text him, it'll be like he's hard to reach. His messages are far and few between. He's not as consistent. You call him, he doesn't answer. And you're kind of thinking to yourself, usually you answer me in like 2 to 3 minutes. When we're dirty talking, you answer me every single minute. You don't even leave the chat, right? You're staying on the chat to message me when we're talking about dirty talk or you're talking about penetrating yourself inside of me. Now that I need a ride, all of a sudden your work's taking over your mind and you're doing this and you're doing that and you don't seem to be as intense as you usually are when we have conversations about other things, right? It could also be something like, let's say you it's going to be a little bit painful. I didn't want to put this here, but I think I have to, right? Let's say for the sake of argument, he knows your cycle. And the last time you spoke to him, you let him know that this upcoming week, you're going to be on your cycle. And he's aware of that. Now, all of a sudden, when you message him about hanging out or seeing each other or just doing something fun, he's hard to reach all of a sudden. All of a sudden, this week, he's got this to do. He's got that to do. He's over here. He's over there. And you can't reach him on the same level anymore. And you're wondering, how come this week of all weeks, the other 3 weeks, we were all good. You were messaging me every second of every day. This week that you're aware that, I'm on my cycle and I'm having my womanhood, period coming up. Okay, no pun intended. Now all of a sudden I can't reach you. That's another sign of a guy being very unreliable, meaning whenever you need him for something other than sleeping with him or other than something intimate related, okay, all of a sudden you can't get the same level of intensity from him. You can't get the same level of, appreciation from him. You can't get the same level of focus from him, whatever it may be. And you're going to notice the drastic difference between when it's about sleeping together or when there's a possibility of the two of you sleeping together versus when you might need something from him where he's not guaranteed to get something in return. right? Because him giving you a ride doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be able to sleep with you, especially if he's giving you a ride to work, right? There's obviously no chance of him sleeping with you that way. And if you're on your cycle, all of a sudden there's no opportunity to sleep with you. And now he's no longer interested in being reliable to you, where you can message him, you can get him on the phone, or he'll be available to you. Okay. Does that make sense? I was almost not going to put that, but I was like, you know what? I got to put it for you guys because I know it definitely does happen. The men are maybe a little bit emotionally slow, but they're not idiots and they are opportunists. So if they know they're here for one thing, they're magically going to disappear on you and be unavailable to you when it no longer serves them. So take notice of how guys treat you when it serves them and how they stop treating you or don't treat you when it no longer serves them or doesn't have the same level of service to them, okay? Someone says, and he says they're not evil. I mean, I would never say that human beings are evil, but I will say that men especially, they're opportunists. So they will take advantage of people and things if those people allow themselves to be taken advantage of. I'll be super honest with you all about that. That's for sure, okay? Now, let's hop into number 4, right? And this is something that some of you might have encountered. Okay. So, in avoiding the past, something very interesting happens. And I kind of want to paint this visual for you so you can really grasp this. So, let's say here we have so on top we have the present and on the bottom we have the past. Now, let's say in the present here, we have 2 sets of pictures. In this present picture, there's you and there's the man. Now, in this past picture, let's put this here, we have the man, but instead of you, we have the other girl, okay? So we'll say girl, right? I'll even put X girl. Now, something very interesting about this. So imagine these as 2 sets of picture frames that you can look at. See, the thing about it is, guys that are using you love to avoid the past, because if you only have this picture to judge him off of, or what you think about him, what will you be doing, right? You'll be thinking about, well, let's see, how do I feel? And the very important part about this is you're going to be thinking about how do you feel right now, okay? So the even more important part, I'll put in parentheses, right now. And this is very important because only thinking about how you feel right now will only consist of what you've experienced right now. No experiences from the past, no experiences from the future. You're only thinking about how you feel on a minute-to-minute basis. This is great for guys that are using you, because the less context you have, the more opportunity he has to make a lot of mistakes. Because if you're only thinking about how you feel on a minute-to-minute basis and you forget everything that's transpired before, or you just are void of that context from before, now he has a new, fresh slate to make new, fresh mistakes, okay? And you can get caught in that hamster wheel. As opposed to, let's say, having a picture frame of him in the past with his ex-girl. Now, all of a sudden, before you ever experience what you're feeling right now or start to think to yourself what you're feeling right now, you get a sense to see who he was in the past. And see, this is the very interesting part, because taking note of what you see him as in the present can become very intoxicating, because the less context you have of a human being, the more you can idolize them, the more you can lift them up and put them on a pedestal and imagine they're just like the guy you imagined in your Wattpad story, and project on them that they're just like the guy you were watching a music video of, right? You're Beyonce and he's Jay-Z, okay? Even more better looking. You're Rihanna, he's ASAP Rocky. You can project anything you want onto him. Why? Because you're basing how you feel about him or what you think of him right now, in the moment, void of all of the context of the past or anything that's gone on before that. It's great for men who are just meeting you and are using you, because now they can be anyone who they want to be, and you get the opportunity to project anything you want onto them. Now, as it relates to the past, see, when they start getting into detail about everything they've been through, and they start telling you some of the ways they were not so nice and they were a little bit toxic, and maybe the reasons the relationship didn't work out, and maybe the fact that they cheated, all of a sudden, instead of you basing how you feel about him on how you feel right now in the second, you're now seeing a larger, bigger picture of who he's been since the beginning of time, right? Since before you've met him. And remember, with human beings, you don't start dating someone and they start existing the moment you start dating them. When you start dating someone, you're kind of like starting your journey with them, but everything that's transpired in their lives before that is who they are and how they got to this point. So if you're void of that knowledge or that information, as we say in the Players Club, of how they got to this point here today, then you're void of a lot of information that would be relevant to you to better understand this man that you're with and on a date with. Which is precisely why the guys who are using you will always try to avoid the past. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to refer to it. And when you do try to bring it up, they'll say things like, these are the most common phrases of guys who are trying to avoid the past. Let's not talk about the past. I'm here with you right now. I don't want to keep talking about my ex. I don't even want her. I don't want to be with her. I don't want to think about her. I just want to be here with you. They'll ask you things like, why do you keep asking about my ex? She's irrelevant. Why do you keep talking about my past relationship? I'm already over her. And they'll keep making you feel like, it's actually kind of a version of a guilt trip. They'll keep making you feel like you're a bad person for asking those questions, for trying to gather that information in that context. Remember, I always tell you, information is king. The person with the most information always wins. Even the men, to a certain extent, understand that. They know if they give you too much information, you'll have the full context and picture of exactly who he is. That will be a minus for him. That will cause him to possibly lose out on you before he gets an opportunity to jackrabbit himself inside of you. It's a kind of a battle here, right? Relationships are like war. What he's trying to do is give you as little context as he possibly can and still get access to you so he can get to the point where he wants to be with you before you realize all of the other pieces of very important information about him, okay? And what you should be trying to do is say, no, mister. I'm sure you're great. I'm sure you're awesome. I'm sure, you'd be the best boyfriend ever. But before we can confirm that and I allow you inside of me, I'm going to take my time to experience you and know all of the information I can about you before I can verify that you are who you say you are. But the men who are trying to use you will definitely be scared and nervous about that, because they know once you start checking that resume, once you start calling those references, everything is going to start falling apart. The story is the easiest for you to believe when you're sitting right here in the present and there's nothing else to think about. There's no other information to sift through except for how you feel right now. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? Patricia says, do you see me in your future? Right? That is something very important. Future and even past talk is so important, right? You got to be thinking about the past. That's also advice to those of you who start thinking to yourself, well, Thompson, I don't want to spend my dates talking about his ex. I don't want to hear about how he used to love someone else and how he used to kiss someone else and how he used to be with someone else. Grow up, okay? That's a human being with a life before you. And that's also very important information. Would you rather him talk about how much he loves you only to realize a couple months later that he's actually still in love with his ex? Or would you rather hear him talk about his ex and realize that on the first date? Okay. One way or another, the pain is going to come. It's just a matter of when. So if you're on a date with a guy who is in love with his ex, better for you to learn on the first date than for you to learn on, 3 months down the line. All right. Let's head right into number 5. Okay. Okay. Ignorance. So important. Very important. Okay, so let's kind of look at this here. We'll look at this like a tree. Okay. So we'll start this tree off with the wronging in the relationship. Now, the reason I'm starting this off here and the wrong that I'm discussing is when a guy messes up and let's say there's a mistake, maybe he disrespects you, maybe he calls you outside of your name, you guys have a huge fight, maybe he cheats, he sleeps with someone else, whatever it may be. There's a wronging here. Now, if this guy wrongs you, there's 2 possibilities for why he may have wronged you, okay? So we'll kind of branch this out here into 2 different possibilities. Let me even branch this further. Okay? So in these 2 possibilities of him wronging you, he could have either done that either done that knowing, or we'll just say ignorant, meaning just not knowing, okay? For those of you, because I know some of you don't speak English that well, we'll say not knowing, right? So that you guys can understand that. Now, if these are 2 of the only possibilities that could come from him wronging you. Now, if the scenario was that he did it from knowing, then that means that this was pretty purposeful, which means he is responsible for making that mistake purposely, knowing that it would hurt you and still doing that to you anyways. That doesn't sound as good, right? That sounds like someone we're saying, that sounds like someone who's evil. For him to know that it would hurt you, know how badly it would hurt you, and then do it anyways. That makes him sound like a bad person, right? I don't want to seem like a bad person. So if he looks like a bad person, then what's going to happen from here is you might decide that you want to break up with him. Because for him to know this and for him to be responsible for this wrongdoing, that would make it seem like he's not ready for a relationship with you. Now, this is where we'll kind of do the ignorant chart here. See, if he's ignorant to all of this going on, meaning that when he wronged you, let's say he slept with a different girl, he can say to you, hey, I didn't know that sleeping with another girl would be wrong. We never talked about exclusivity in a really serious setting. All we did was message about it and talk about it that one time where we were laying on the couch and watching Netflix. So, but I don't feel like we had like the proper conversation. If I would have known that we were having a proper conversation about, exclusivity and like we were for sure putting the hammer in the nail and saying that we're exclusive, I would have never slept with the other girl. I just didn't know. This is great. Because when you're ignorant, he can escape responsibility and pass it off as being confused. I was confused on our status. I was confused on what you wanted. I'm confused on what I want. We're all confused. Give me a confused hug. Come here, come here, come here, come here. I love you. Give me a can you hug me? We're all so confused. Can I jackrabbit myself inside of you in a confused way? Okay. I'm so confused. You're so confused. We're all so confused. I don't want to be confused anymore. Let me fix my camera here. I messed up my camera. It's sad. You guys made me mess up my camera. Okay. All right. So you're confused. Everyone's confused. Now, here's the thing about being confused. When he's confused and we're all confused together, and he looks like a good person, because it's not my fault that this happened. It's the confusion's fault that this happened. Let's stand together and blame confusion for our problems, not me. It's confusion. And we'll cry together. You can cry on my shoulder. In fact, you can cry while you sit on top of me. Can you spread your legs though so I can fit this inside of you? It's pretty small though. And we'll be confused. We'll argue and we'll yell and we'll scream at confusion. This leads to forgiveness, because you get convinced yourself that it's not your fault. I know that you slept with another girl, and I know that you did it multiple times, and I know that you basically had a second girlfriend, but I get it. We never had the conversation of exclusivity. So the confusion is what made you unaware of what we were. And if you would have known that I wanted you to, right? That's another one of the things they'll say. I didn't know that you actually wanted to be serious with me. If I would have known, I would have never slept with 3 other girls. But you never told me how you really feel about me. And I just feel like it's all a game, okay? Confusion is great. When he can blame it on confusion, now you want to forgive him because he doesn't look like a bad person. Whereas if he says, yeah, actually, I'm actually very aware that we're exclusive. We talked about it. We had a conversation about it, but I don't give a damn. Even though you said that we're exclusive, I still want to go and sleep with whoever I want to sleep with. I want to smash girls on a Saturday night if I want to smash girls. I don't feel like abiding to the rules of exclusivity with you. And you're not going to convince me to. That's taking responsibility. That's telling you exactly how he feels and why he did it. The problem is that makes him look like a really bad guy. And then you're going to say, if you're a really bad guy and you do all this knowingly, I'm going to avoid you and probably break up with you or just not be with you. And so the guys regularly choose this, especially when they're using you, because they don't want to make it seem like they're knowingly making those mistakes. They want to claim ignorance so that everyone can be under the impression that bad things are only happening because of confusion. It's precisely why I tell you, never operate in your relationship or your situationship under confusion. The moment you're in a talking stage with a guy, or you're dealing with a guy for many, many weeks or many, many months, and you're confused about where you stand or where this relationship stands, you need to either walk away from that relationship or get an understanding of why there is that much confusion. Because confusion will only exist and benefit men. When there's confusion and they make mistakes, they can all blame it all on confusion. So you have to start thinking to yourself, I've got to bring clarity for myself and to this relationship. And if when I am trying, and if in the process of me trying to bring clarity to my relationship, I sense pushback from him, or I sense the fact that he doesn't want to provide me clarity, I then remove myself from this relationship or situationship. Because once you're operating under confusion for too long, you're only going to be in more and more pain. Okay? You should never be confused about where you stand in a relationship with a guy. because a guy should be intentional enough with you that even if things are moving slow, at least you know where you actually stand with him and what the actual status of your relationship is. I'm telling you this because I've actually helped hundreds and hundreds of you beautiful women's souls, and you'll be shocked on how often sometimes you're thinking, oh yeah, this guy's my boyfriend, and then he's going out into his life to parties, to clubs, to even I have friends like this. I have friends that will come and they'll tell me, yeah, I'm not dating her. I'll never date her in a million years. And then I'll talk to her a little bit after, and she'll tell me, yeah, this was my boyfriend for 4 or 5 months. And I'll be like, that's very embarrassing. Okay. So you don't want to be in that position. You want to be very aware of where you stand with the guy and how he really feels about you and how he's really going about this relationship. So do you guys have any questions about the 5 that we just discussed here today? For those of you who missed any of those 5 points, don't worry, okay? Don't get all confuzzled. They're all up on my YouTube channel, Tomisin Atobatele. On the top right corner of the screen, there's my name there for those of you on TikTok. You go to my YouTube page, and then I'm live there at the same time. You can just rewind it, or if I'm not live anymore, you go into the live section and you'll find the entire live with all of the points that we did here today, okay? So don't get too worried if you missed any of the points and you want me to repeat them, okay? We gotta keep the show moving. Does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions about those 5? Sonia says, Thompson, what's the solution? How can you flip it? Well, here's the thing. If a man's using you, and let's say I go through these points and you're like, yep, he did that. Yep, he did that. And he did that. Your job then is to remove yourself from that situation, because in that scenario, you're acknowledging that this guy is essentially using you for something other than being in a long-term serious relationship with you. You're not going to flip it and convince him to take you seriously now. That's not how that works. What your job is to recognize if a guy is taking this seriously, and if he's not, then you remove yourself. Okay, when you join the Players Club, when you're a pro, you'll understand part of being a pro member of the Players Club, you're not in the business of sending guys long texts. Why don't you take me serious? Why don't you do this for me? Why don't you take me out? Why don't you do this? Why don't you treat me like you have respect? No. We are never in the business of sending long text, over-explaining. The men, they don't care. They do not care. And you'll see it in our Discord, okay? Whenever you do one of those long texts explaining to him, trying to get him to understand how he's treated you wrong, he will just ignore it, say whatever, or pretend to care and not do anything about it. So there's no point, okay? By the way, for those of you guys who have Discord questions for me, make sure you send them in now so that they're available for me to go through when we get there, okay? My Discord section, where I'm going to be answering all of your relationship advice questions that you guys have for me, well, no matter what they're on, you go over to the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. Click where it says Discord, join the Discord community. Quickly join that up, and then put in your username, and then go into our relationship advice section, because I'm going to read out some questions near the end of the show, okay? So make sure you drop in your questions there. Now, for our next stage, our next chapter in the show, we're going to go right into our React segment, which I'll be reacting to videos and TikTok videos that you guys have sent me to react to and respond to. We're going to have some discussion about them. While I'm cleaning up and getting prepared for our React segment, by the way, spam up your camera emojis and spam up your headphone emojis, okay? And while I'm getting ready for our React segment cleaning up for you guys, we're going to watch an intermission video so that you're not just watching me clean up. Today's intermission video is going to come from Margarita, because you guys love Margarita so much. Margarita is going to be talking about wonderful and powerful ways to radiate magnetic aura, okay? So
becoming extremely beautiful and maximized in your aura. Number one thing that you must understand about having a magnetic aura that everyone is going to be obsessed with is that aura is a reflection of your inner world. That is literally what it means, what you radiate externally from your inner world. How can you denote the fact that you have a valuable inner world? My mum is the queen of this. You've probably seen her on my Instagram. she is the literal queen of this, because why? She is obsessed with her inner world. She literally does not care what you're doing, what you're not doing. And that is the thing that women have in common who make people go crazy about them, is that they are so interested in their inner world. It makes you want to just delve into, like, how is it that you are loving your life so much? How is it that you are enjoying your life so much? Because we're all struggling. We all struggle with life, mental health, things are getting away from us. Life can be difficult. And when we see a person truly enjoying the experience of life, we want to delve into it. This is what women get wrong often. They make their life about the man in their life by not making their life about themselves, but making their life about him. And we know the rule: the more you focus on him, the more he focuses on himself. The more you focus on yourself, the more he focuses on you. That's right, ladies. So if that is what you want, if you want to magnetize people with your aura, you need to cultivate a really interesting and amazing inner world. And the first way you do that is you start nurturing yourself. What does that mean? When you're going to think about what does he want to eat, first think about what you want to eat. When you think about what he wants to do, first think about what you want to do. When you're thinking about how everyone else is happy, first think about how you are happy. You need to start to think about you first to create an interesting, it's almost like architecture. You're creating something interesting out of yourself by cultivating who you are. There's going to be no aura if there's nothing interesting about you. If you want to feel luxurious, you need to have a luxurious internal experience. Have you treated yourself to something? Have you bought yourself something new? And it's not about buying things, but luxurious experiences can be formed from bathing, whatever it is that you want to do. Me, I don't like a bath, but you might. Reading your favorite book. What makes you feel good inside? Is it those novels that you read? Is it what makes you feel warm, fuzzy, and queen-like? What is the experience that you want to have? You need to cultivate that by cultivating it in you. If your inner world is hazardous, self-loathing, erratic, and wild, you are going to radiate that. It's not going to be in your aura. You know what's extremely addictive, and this is a side quest, but I'm going to go on it. What is extremely addictive about a human being, a woman especially, because we have feminine energy, is a woman who is obsessed with her inner world and doesn't really care about other people's ideas about what she's doing. That confidence to follow yourself through in life is very, very, very engaging. It's almost addictive. When a man sees that he can bend you to his whim, and the world is the same, it's masculine, the world and how it's built. When it sees that you can be bent to any whim, any time, any place, you become disposable. When you stand for something, you become very, very valuable.
Get this party started. Okay, there we go. And here we are in our Reacts segment. Let's see, where did we leave off? Okay, we've got lots and lots to get through here. I think we left off on bets here, right? Okay, so I think that we got this one to do here.
This is what guys are like when they have a crush on you.
They will drop everything, and they will do everything to see you.
Doesn't matter how busy they are. They'll be like, yeah, I'm there. Whatever you want.
I'm there.
No problem.
We're going here. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're figuring it out. Zero excuses.
They're giving more effort than probably you would even want them to give at this stage in the game. There's nothing else going on inside their head other than just like, I actually like this girl. I'm hooped.
I'm hooped. I'm hooped.
Yeah.
I want her. She's mine. I'm getting her. When can I see her tomorrow, basically?
It's the forefront of your brain at all times. It doesn't matter what kind of work or anything. You're toast at that point. It's over. You're in trouble.
Talk to your friends about it?
No, never. You can't. Why would you ever talk to your friends about it? They don't listen. You think I could talk to him about it? No chance.
I think I disagree. I've told that to my friends in the past.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, I think we all have, but I don't. Are you comfortable with it? No. You're not like picking up the phone like girls be like, "Oh my god, I met this person." Like you're not doing that.
I think for something interesting that they mentioned here, because I know sometimes girls wonder, do guys talk about girls and this and that? I mean, they do, but they just talk about it in a different way. That's like they don't put their feelings on the table for the most part. I mean, every guy is a little bit different. But for the most part, guys aren't just going to readily put their feelings on the table to other guys and be like, oh my God, I'm so obsessed with her. I'm so in love with. They don't talk like that, right? They might talk about what they like about her and hanging out with her, and the guys will pick up on, you're talking about her a lot, bro. So clearly there's something about her that you like, okay? And even then, sometimes guys will try to deny it, okay? But that's kind of how guys are. But in the first half of what they talked about in terms of they will try to figure stuff out. That's why I always tell you guys, in yesterday's show, we talked about how to kind of show a guy you like him and how to give him a little bit of a runway to show him this is your opportunity to kind of take a chance here and take a step forward. That's what you want to be doing for men, especially if they like you, because they will be willing to take that opportunity once they see it's present, and they'll be moving forward towards you. Now, the guys who aren't as interested, when you give them that opportunity, they'll just be like, whatever, I don't care, right? And in which case you don't bother yourself either.
You have to mirror a man. That way you'll see what it is that he's trying to do. When you mirror a man,
What is going on
you
here?
start seeing.
This is what guys.
You have to mirror a man. That way
Is the whole thing
it's
frozen?
going to get slower and slower and slower.
That's very weird. What's going on?
Your girl, it is your job, hands down, 100% of the time, to let the guy know that you find attractive, that you find him attractive, or else he's not going to know to pursue. Now, let me say this as well.
This is already horrible advice. We just started and it's horrible advice. I know he's trying. I know he's trying his best, but let's go on.
Especially in 2024, us men, we are quite blind to when women obviously find us attractive and are giving us the signs to pursue. Eye contact, liking an Instagram story is not necessarily enough. If you truly want this guy that you have a massive crush on, then you have to make it somewhat obvious. Now, I don't mean go up to the dude and be like, oh, you're so hot. I don't mean it like that, but give him attention, direct attention with consistency. This is what my girlfriend did to me. She would comment on all of my TikTok videos, and then over time I was like, okay, obviously this girl is into me, so then I knew to pursue. But once you do leave those initial signs, it is up to him 100% to set up all of the dates. So
he said, when I seen that she would comment on all my TikTok videos, that's when I knew she wanted me and it was time. You know, that's his truth. So I'm not going to in the business of telling him that his truth isn't real or whatever. However, if I'm going to give you a strategy that I think will work for you, I do not recommend you using that strategy. Okay? I don't think that it's necessary for you to compliment a guy in order for you to even show him that you like him. And we literally had a whole show about showing guys you like them without ever saying, I like you. Okay. I know that some of you guys think, well, some men are just, they don't get it. They never get it. They never see the signs. Well, that's too bad. We're going to find you an emotionally intelligent man that can see the signs. And I also tried my best, at least in yesterday's show, to try to show you how the signs can even be a little bit more obvious and upfront to a certain extent up until the guy has to take some sort of initiative. Don't be commenting on his TikTok videos, though. That's not going to do it for you. I don't see how that's his truth. Okay. But I just don't recommend that for you.
you actually have the easy part in a way. It's just the initial attraction you have to let him know. It's like dropping the handkerchief, or however you say it, in the 1920s in front of a guy that you find attractive. Concept, you have to give him direct clues, not clues, direct clues. And then it's fully up to him to pursue. Your job is
Sorry, chat. What I was saying was the most direct version of what he's saying that you should be doing, right? The most direct you should be is a smile and lingering eye contact. Anything more than that, and you have become the man now, meaning you are the pursuer in the relationship. Because if you're doing more than that, then you're the one kind of, making this go along, and he's just being the girl now, okay? Because you have to understand balance. There's only a certain point where he stops being the man and you're now the man for him, and he's the princess receiving from you. We don't want that, okay? So I know sometimes when guys give this advice, it's not meant to be malicious. They just thinking, logically, if I don't get it, help me get it by just telling me how to feel or what you want. That sounds good in theory, but what actually ends up happening when you do that is the men that you end up approaching like that take a step back and they receive you. And so you end up just being the constant pursuer. You don't want that for the extent of an entire relationship, though. And that's not going to be sustainable for you, because you don't want to be a pursuer for an entire relationship. You got to start stuff off on the right foot. And the right foot is letting him come up to you. Smile and lingering eye contact. That's it. I seen someone earlier say a wink. No, okay? We're not on the Disney Channel, all right? Don't put it too on the like what are you gonna do? You're at a club and the music's blaring, you're looking at a guy. So what happens if someone walked right in front when you wink? Then you're gonna be over here. Oh, I think he didn't see. I don't think he saw that one. Trying to tilt your head. So no. Don't do that. Smile, lingering eye contact. You can do the eye contact multiple times. That's enough, all right? Don't be overexerting yourself to try to get his attention.
You are never going to chase this person ever again after you watch this video, because this is what chasing looks like from their perspective. You're never going to chase someone again, okay? This is what it looks like from their perspective, okay? So they go into a shop one day, they see this beautiful piece of jewelry, this like gorgeous $50,000 necklace. They're picking it up, they're looking at it, the shop owner is like, do you want to, like, how are you feeling about it? And you're like, can I come back later in the week and we can discuss? Here's my number. The shop owner's like, all right, I'll give you my number and I'll call you and I'll check in on you in the next few days, see if you want to buy it or not. They're like, yep, perfect. Call me in a few days, I'll let you know how I'm feeling, but I'm definitely interested in it. I just like need time to think about it. The shop owner calls back and they're like, do you want the necklace? And they're like, I'm still thinking about it. The shop owner calls again 2 days later and they're like, hey, we've got this 10% discount on the necklace. Do you want the necklace? A 10% discount, like twist my arm. Okay, that's intriguing, but still, I still need to think about it. It's a lot of money. They call again and they're like, all right, now we've got a 20% discount for it. Do you want it now? And they're like, okay, I still need to think about it. Like, can you stop harassing me? Like, I'm still thinking about it. Stop calling me every second day. They call again. 50% off. Do you want this necklace or not? 50% off. We've got other clients interested. Other people are interested in it, but I thought that I would call you, check in. Do you want it or not? And they're like, 50% off. Okay, this necklace is not valued as much as I thought it was. Why are they offering me 50% off? Why do they keep coming to me? Eventually they're like, can you please stop calling me, stop contacting me? I will contact you when I am interested enough to come in and buy the necklace. They call again, hey, 70% off, like this necklace, 70% off. And now they're like, I don't even want the fucking necklace. Like, why is it 70% off? Why are you so desperate for me to get this necklace? It's desperate, stop calling me. They block the number, they've had enough. They don't want the necklace anymore. It's lost its entire value, 70% off. Like, anyone will go and buy that for 70% off now. The shop person is like, but you wanted the necklace, like, why don't you want it anymore? I'm offering it to you for 70%. And they're just like, I don't want it anymore. It's not worth what I thought it was. It's giving desperate. It's giving too much. I wanted it for how it was. I just had to think about it. But the fact that you're harassing me about it, I don't want it anymore. The necklace, right, is a relationship. So when you chase and chase and chase and chase, you're devaluing yourself. You are literally devaluing yourself from your top prize. You're making yourself look cheap. And when you keep chasing, this person is like, whoa, like, I don't want it anymore. They wanted you for your original price because you are worth that. But they just had to think about it. It's like a relationship. You don't just click your fingers and you're like, yes, I want a relationship. Sometimes people need to think about it. Sometimes people need to think about what they want. But the fact that you are like shoving it down their throat, chasing and chasing and chasing, and it's coming across as desperate, and they're just like, leave me alone. Like, this is getting way too much. I don't even want it anymore. Block the number. So stop devaluing yourself. Stop.
I think that's why I like using analogies, chat. Okay, I'm an analogy guy. All right, to try to convey a point. I like this analogy, and I like it. This actually isn't her analogy. Ironically, this analogy belongs to Margarita, who she credited in the video. So it's not like she stole it. She's just kind of repeating what she saw from her. But Margarita's analogy, and I'm assuming Margarita just made it up, but Margarita's analogy is very good. Margarita's the girl that we watched in intermission time, for those of you who are unaware. Margarita's analogy is, I think, I like that analogy for what it's meant to stand for. And what I'll say to that as well is chasing is not just, going up to a guy and saying, I want to be with you, asking him out on a date. Chasing is also considered, at least in my estimation, when you start noticing that he's either pulling away from you or maybe not showing you the level of interest or focus that you think a guy should be showing you if he wants to date you. Chasing is also texting that guy or calling him and saying, "Hey, why don't you want to take me out on a date? Hey, the past, 2 weeks, you haven't even asked me out or texted me or asked me how I'm feeling. And I just feel like you don't want me. I feel like you don't want this. I feel like you're not taking this thing seriously, right?" And when you begin saying that, you might not think to yourself, "Oh, that's chasing. I'm just telling him and communicating how I feel." But every time you reach out to him for the purpose of trying to show him how little he's seeming to be interested in you and how you're really confused, you're only actually showing him how desperate you are for him to actually want you and like you. And as weird as it sounds, it's like a form of chasing, because you're chasing after him to try to get him to like you. Why? Because if he doesn't like you, or he doesn't seem to, see your value, there should be many of other men lined up who will gladly do everything that you're asking for. And if that's the case, you should be forgetting about him as fast as, you can sneeze, because when he's not showing you what you need, someone else is willing to do that. So think of it like that as well when you're starting to think about calling guys out for not showing interest or seeming like they're now disinterested. It's the same idea.
Men are obsessed with self-centered bitches. Why? Because this type of woman doesn't take his freedom away. They're not needy, they're not desperate, they're not boxing their man in to the point where he's thinking, "Oh my God, get her away from me." Now sit down, this is gonna be a masterclass video, so get your pencils out, get your notebooks and papers out. I'm gonna explain to you why men love bitches and why you need to stop being needy and desperate. The difference between the needy, desperate woman, the loyal golden retriever, and the ultimate femme fatale black cat is that the woman that is unbothered, the black cat energy, is okay with the space between him and her. She doesn't all of a sudden jump when he says jump. She stays focused on her. He could do whatever the fuck he wants because she knows he will always eventually come back right next to her. If you are needy, you are not comfortable with the space between you two. He is leaving for work. You're calling him. "How's your day going, honey? Oh my God, how are you feeling? Have you slept well? Have you eaten? Have you taken your protein shake?" He's going out to the pub with the boys. "Hey, honey, I just want to make sure when you're coming home, I already made the bed for you. I've also got our favorite movie on." Just about the mental attention energy that you give him. Men can sense when you are needy, when you're desperate, and when you're anxious, because you cannot live without them. You cannot stay comfortable in his absence. You cannot hold your own, because wherever he goes, you keep an eye out and you want to come his way. Where the unbothered ice queen, his dream girl, okay, the ultimate femme fatale, couldn't care less. She's over here doing her own thing, and no matter where he's floating around in the universe on this planet, she knows he will come back to her because she has something that he wants. She is independent out of the outcome of the relationship. She's not attached to him, and therefore he wants to come her way even more. If you want a more in-depth explanation, you can click the link in my bio. For $50, you get access to my online course where I explain everything.
I wish I could demonstrate to you. I'd be muting up too much, huh? I wish I could demonstrate to you all. It makes me think of an idea where I could actually show you guys what it's like to interact with someone on these particular levels for these particular examples that we be given, like, how to be mean the right way, how to flirt, things like that, and what the kind of back and forth or the flow should kind of look like. You know what I mean? I'll have to figure out a way to do that because obviously I need someone else here to play the opposite role so you guys can kind of see firsthand what that energy transfer and back and forth would kind of look like here, because I do believe in what Anna is saying. And see, the B word can, when you hear it, it can sound to you like, oh, so do they want me to literally disrespect them? No. What they want is to take notice of the fact that you just don't need them. You don't need them for your happiness, especially in the early stages. Now, that doesn't mean you don't do anything nice for the guy that you're dating, that's actually your boyfriend or your husband. But that means in the early stages of a talking stage, when you're getting to know someone, allow them to see and take notice of the fact that you're not moved or shaken by whether or not he's interested in you today or he seems a bit less interested. And that honestly should go on for the extent of your relationship, right? Of course, your relationship should bring you happiness, but it shouldn't be the, mover and shaker of how you feel about yourself. Your world shouldn't be turned upside down if today he shows you a little bit less attention than he did yesterday. That's not a sustainable way to live, because your emotional state is totally based off of how someone else chooses to treat you. And that in itself, even though that might sound very foolish or silly, that's already giving someone too much power. That's simply how they treat you will totally change how you feel about yourself, totally flip your day over and paralyze you to not being able to do anything or have any sort of happiness. That's unsustainable.
All right, quick work break. Look, it says if you're anxious, you will automatically interpret calmness in a relationship as a lack of attraction. I'm absolutely working on this. The trick is not to get hooked on the highs and lows and mistake an activated attachment system for passion or love. Don't let emotional unavailability turn you on. Don't let emotional unavailability turn you on, Erica. Jesus. It says you are used to equating an activated attachment system with love. You conclude that this can't be the one because no bells are going off. Yep. You associate a calm attachment system with boredom and indifference. Because of this fallacy, you might let the perfect partner pass you by. Here's what we usually say: the spark was missing. Or are we just not turned on because the people are emotionally available? What is it about being anxious? Oh gosh, I'm not even about to do this. I'm gonna just leave y'all with that part. All right, quick.
Interesting book here. I think we should have a show on how to deal with an avoidant man. The reason I think we should have a show on it is because Tomisin, I avoidant man. So I think it would be good to hear from an avoidant man the best ways to deal with an avoidant man. I definitely think we should definitely put a show like that together. Oh, let me make sure. Let's go into our next one here. I gotta refresh so we can hit some more of these. I know you guys sent me a couple new ones. Okay, perfect. Y'all funny. Okay, let's go here.
What to do when he pulls away. Now, you might not think it, but this is a fun one, okay? Before a man...
So I seen something funny the other day. I thought Sarah Lauren used to live in New York, but I guess she actually lives in Toronto now, so... We definitely could collab on like the show or something like that, because she literally lives in my city and she talks about relationships too.
Man pulls away 9 times out of 10, not 100% of the time, but 9 times out of 10, and that's a lot, okay? They will pull away. And it's a matter of what you do in that time that they pull away is if they come back and commit to you. Number 1, we're gonna look in the mirror, okay? We're gonna look in the mirror and remind ourselves that we are fully deserving of someone that is fully wanting us and only us. We are not here to beg anyone to be with us. So when he pulls away, we focus on ourselves. We do not dwell on what's happening. We do not lay in bed and eat ice cream and get fat and cry over a man, okay? We get up and we do our things. We focus on ourselves and our happiness. We lived our lives without him before. We can live our lives without him after, okay? We are focusing on ourselves because men always come back. So in the meantime, let's get even hotter. Do not, and I repeat, not go crazy. It takes a lot, but do not go crazy. Do not yell at him. Do not chase him. Do not beg for him back. You look weak. You look like you need him. You devalue yourself. Let him come back on his own. You do not need to be seen as if you need him. And last but not least, anytime you leave the house, anytime you put yourself on social media, put your head high. You are okay. Be confident. Walk into a room like nothing is happening, okay? beauty is a bit of pain. And I know you can talk about it with your safe space and your safe people about how much you're upset, but you are still you. Who knows? Maybe in that time when he pulls away, you meet the man of your life, the man that is even better suited for you than the man that is pulling away right now and won't do that to you. So you're gonna
I was muted. Don't even worry about what I said. Irrelevant. Don't worry about it. You're never going to know.
put yourself out there, be the person that you really are, and allow other people to walk into your life. But at the end of the day, they always come back. So Jimmy, he'll come back regardless. What to do when
I believe in everything that she said here. And the other thing as well is I talked about this in our show about pulling away. So you guys said, I want to know. No, you're not going to know. You're going to have to read my lips or something, rewind it back and maybe see what I said. So one of the things that I'll mention, though, is, and I mentioned this in our show about pulling away, don't become a quote queen. So when you do post on social media, don't make what you post indirectly about him or the fact that you're moving on, you're bigger and better now, right? All of that posting quote stuff just makes you look more bothered. When he actually pulls away from you, the worst thing you want to look is like you're bothered. And so even in the way that you post, it can make you look bothered. Just continue living your life. That's how you get back when he pulls away. But posting the quote stuff, that don't work how you think it's going to work, okay?
Never do more than he does for you. In fact, whatever he does for you, you do by 1/4. So if he goes 100, you go 25%, okay? That's how much more they should like you. If they're bringing you flowers, being romantic, taking you out on dates, buying you nice gifts and stuff like that, that's 100%. They're taking care of you, paying all your bills and whatnot, right? You're only going to give them 25%. And I'm going to tell y'all why. Because after a while, if you give them 50%, 75%, you're going to get attached and start liking them a little bit more and doing a little bit more while they start doing a little bit less. And eventually, you're going to be doing more than he's doing. So that's why you got to keep the 25% effort and let them stay at the 100% effort. Because as time moves forward, things are going to naturally even out. But remember, if you're always doing 25%, they're never going to catch up to each other.
Disclaimer. Following this advice may result in the loss of a dusty and the earning of this bag.
Who added that? Okay. Funny. But what Cher's trying to set you up for is to be in a relationship where you're getting what you feel you deserve out of the relationship and you're never overextending yourself, okay? And the reason she's kind of making it like that is just to help you avoid a situation where it becomes difficult for you to gauge or properly kind of work as the dynamic is shifting. Because the reality of it is the dynamic is always kind of shifting. And if you're too unaware of it, or you get too caught up in it, you're going to allow the dynamic to shift too much in his favor without realizing it has shifted so much in his favor. I think part of joining the Players Club with me every day and when we talk about this stuff, you can kind of start to be more self-aware and understand when you're in relationships how the dynamic changes and shifts depending on what's going on. And it becomes easier to control that as things start to change and adjust, which is good. I think that's how it should be, okay?
Goddess, you literally have a portal between your legs where
What?
life comes to this planet. The only way for a human
Is he eating butter?
soul to come to this planet, into this universe, why are you not...
Chat, what is he eating? I can't, you know me, I can't, sometimes when my focus goes on the wrong things, I can't not think about it. What is he eating? It looks like he's eating a stick of butter. Like mashed up sticks of butter.
For a human soul to come to this planet, into this universe, why are you not treating yourself and seeing yourself as a fucking goddess? If you can manifest and be a portal for life itself. I mean, think about that, goddess. You can do fucking anything. Let's fucking go. Goddess, you literally have a...
TikTok's an interesting place. It looks, what someone said vegetables. How is that vegetables? Doesn't that look like, someone said tofu? Maybe that maybe could be tofu. In the bowl though? Okay, interesting. Why is the mic on his beard? TikTok's a very interesting place, I tell you. The way the kids are doing it these days, I might have lost, I don't know. Maybe I got to catch up with what the kids are. I just be writing on a board. I'm a little bit basic here. The kids got the mic on the beard, and boy, I tell you, boy, it's different out here.
Portal between your legs where life...
That's butter chat. Let's be so... Do you see the smudges on the side here? That looks like mashed butter or like mashed potatoes.
Comes to this planet. The only way for a human soul to come to this planet, into this universe.
If that's vegetables, why would he be putting like a Biscoff cookie on top of it?
Why are you not treating yourself and seeing yourself as a fucking goddess? If you...
Ice cream? Maybe, possibly. Anyways, all right, let's hop into our next segment. I'll be getting too distracted with the wrong things. Let's hop into our next segment of the show. You guys know what's coming up. If you've been here before, I want you to spam it in the chat and let me know if you're ready for this. Why is the camera so high? Let me fix this. Spam it up in the chat if you know what time it is. I'm going to fix the camera. All right? Let me know in the chat if you know what time it is. I want to know in the chat if you're aware of what time it is. It's a very special time. It's a very amazing time. It's a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. It's Discord time. All right, let's hop into the Discord segment of the show, where we'll get to discussing some of your relation. What the heck is going on? What the hell? What the hell? Sorry, my TikTok chat just kind of went out there. Okay, so for those of you who are unaware of what Discord time is, I'm going to explain this to you real quick. Discord time is essentially where all the members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me questions about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer them live on the show. So let me pull up our Discord segment here. Okay, now you have different ways of sending in your Discord question, and I'll do a quick explanation of how you're going to do that here. So first way is to send it into our regular free relationship advice section. You can do that by going into the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. Second way to do that is by going into our and when you send it in, right, you go into our free section. Oh, wow, got a lot more questions today. And you can see here, you know, some of these that we have highlighted. It's a first come, first serve basis. So I have to go through the ones that I haven't answered yet. So yeah, I might not be able to get yours today if you ask it today. Now, the second option, if you don't want to wait or you just want to make sure your question gets answered ASAP and nobody gets in front of you, you can also put your question in the premium relationship advice section, which is available to you here in our Discord as well. And the way you get access to that is by going into the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description. And when you go there, you then go into premium Discord relationship advice. Click that, you donate to the show, put in the title of your username and the title of your question. And when you send in your donation, I get a notification on my phone and I can confirm that that's you and that's your question. That way no one gets to claim that that's, they sent in that donation and it's, it actually isn't them, okay? Now, the third way to submit a question is if you don't want me to be reading it out on the show, but you want to get my opinion and advice, you can hit our private relationship advice question here. I have a lot to do, so I'm a little bit backed up, but I'm getting to as many as I can day by day because you guys love the private relationship advice. So I'm also doing that as well. When you click this link, it's in our Discord or it's in my bio on TikTok or in YouTube. Click private relationship advice. You do the same thing. You donate to the show. You send in your question with your donation, and then I read it. I send you back a voice message, and I send it through your email, and no one else sees it. Okay, so there's options there if you want to send in your question. Let me move the camera up a little bit low. There we go. Okay. Now, all right, let's head into our first question in our premium section, which comes from Lida. Okay. So Lida says, my secret crush. Hi, Tommy. It's me, your little 20-year-old German newbie. Okay. I guess this is the best time to ask before I can ruin everything again. This is a story before an actual story. There was a story before the actual story can begin. Okay. Maybe you remember I studied medicine away from home. So the city where I study won't be the city where I'm going to live. So my mindset was the whole time like I don't need to get to know a man here because I won't live here in a few years. Okay. But now, during all these failed situationships, all of these men who are broken inside, after all of my experience, there always has been one man at my university that makes me feel very good about myself. Okay. We don't talk. He makes you feel very good about yourself, but you don't. Okay. But in some way, oh no. His presence always gives me a sense of not losing hope for a good man. I'm losing one, chat. I'm losing one. Okay. We're gonna read the rest of the message, but Lida, that's not how this works. Okay. I know you're still learning, right? You've sent in other questions before. That's not how this works, though, okay? A guy that you don't talk to, you don't actually know, okay? I'm just telling you the truth. You don't know what he's like. You don't know anything about him. And he might seem like a nice guy on the surface because you see him walking in class and you see him reading his books, but you don't know anything about who he really is, okay? Don't fall into the trap. It's a trap that will have your mind playing in a narrative because it happens to all of us. Sometimes your mind, your brain, your heart just picks out one person and you just see a little sparkle in that one person and then you start building the narrative. And when your mind becomes hyper focused on that narrative, it's like a tick. It can't get out of your head. It happens to all of us, okay? You just have to remind yourself that's not real, okay? It's a narrative that you want to believe in. It's not real though. Why do I say this like that? Because in Germany, studying with thousands of male medical students, there is a chance of 1 to 1,000 that you might get someone without a mental disorder illness, okay? Without the urge to cheat on you and without being lost in their life. Okay, sure, I can agree with that, but you don't know that that's him. That's okay. I don't want to exaggerate things, but this man, this is not good. This is not good. He looks like a Disney prince. Let me stand up, chat. Because if you've joined the show for long enough, you know how bad the rhetoric is if she's talking like this. We're not in a good place if Lida is talking like this about a man. Oh boy. Let me take a stretch. We're not in a good place. We're not in a good place. I'm gonna do downward dog. Okay. We might have to have like a stretch cam. No, Diddy. All right. Boy. Okay. I might need to have a whole massage before I get back into some of these questions. This is not a good state to be in. if you are in this state where you're starting to think of a guy you've never met that he looks like a Disney prince, this is very bad. Because it's starting to make me feel like if you ever do meet him, you're going to say a lot of silly things and you're going to let a lot of silly things transpire. Okay? So now you're describing him. He's tall. He wears very classic clothes. He doesn't appear at all at parties. How would you know that unless you're going to the parties? Anyways. He doesn't talk to anyone but a few friends. How would you know that? You've never met him. You don't really even know who his friends are. And if he doesn't go to parties, how do you know he's not doing other things instead of going to those parties? Okay. No woman. He's so wait, but how would you know that? If you've not met him, how would you know that? He is so disciplined. I studied 2 years. Now and there wasn't one day where I didn't see him at the library. I'm just rereading because I feel like I've missed something here. Okay, let's go on. Now, this is the problem. The library, the only place where I can see him every day. Our progress is smiling at each other when we meet there. That's it. Yesterday, he sat next to me and whispered hello. I smiled. Okay, let's go on. I don't want to comment yet. I smiled back. We had to be quiet. There is one awkward thing that I feel very embarrassed about. Before I entered my feminine energy through you, I first started studying 2 years ago. Studying here 2 years ago. There was a party for all of us newbies. He's been studying longer than me. Okay? I just stepped to him a bit. Wait. Well, I just stepped to him a bit drunk and we had small talk. That's it. I'm okay. What just happened? I thought when I read earlier, you said that you have not met him. We don't talk, but in some ways his presence gives me a sense. Okay, so you have actually talked, okay? But this was just 2 years ago, okay? So I guess it's not that you've never talked, but that, like you said, it was a little bit of small talk, so not really a conversation. Also, at another party, my drunk friend told him if he could watch out for me. Don't get me upset. So awkward, I know, but it's been 2 years, and he started to say hello at the library to me. Okay. Sometimes I'm sitting with my girlfriends, the same one that ratted you out. You should slap her. And when he walks by, he smiles at only me. I won't say anything. Okay, let's not be delusional. I watched your last video about how to attract without scaring him away. Perfect video for you. But none of your points suits to my situation because we don't even talk. Okay? Precisely. They're not meant to suit a situation where you don't talk to the person. Okay? I'm going to be very stern with you at the end of this. I'm not going to lie. One time on Instagram, I saw a story of him kissing a guy. Let's take a stretch for the twist of the century here. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. All right, chat. I think I might have to take, let me just, hold on a second here. All right, chat. Okay, all right. Not sure what that's, let me take a drink of water. I don't know what to say here. Okay. One time on Instagram, I saw a story of him kissing a guy. But it was at a very big medicine party where everyone was drunk. Is that okay? Chat. You know what? I have to accept that I don't know everything. For those of you in the medical field, please explain to me, because I might be dumb and stupid. I'm unaware of what goes on in 2024. Is this average regular behavior for a med school party where the guys are kissing other guys? That's like average med school party because I'm just a man. I'm just one man with one perspective. I'm not in medicine. I might not know. I do relationships. I don't know if that's that's like initiation. That's like, oh, we kiss the guys, a medicine party. Oh, med school, let's kiss guys. And, everyone kisses everyone. I didn't know I didn't see that episode on Grey's Anatomy. So I guess maybe because my perspective is skewed. I didn't see that one or on General Hospital or Grey's Anatomy. I have to rewatch the episodes. So I can't, or maybe I don't want to imagine that he's gay. Yeah, this must be chat. Yeah, maybe it's a med school thing and I'm confused. I don't, boy, I tell you, boy, I gotta rewatch Grey's Anatomy. Tomisin, he's so masculine. He just gives me daddy vibes. I'm glad you sent this question in. I am so obsessed with this kind of smile on his face when he sees me. Maybe he's too shy to talk to me. I have to say that I'm often with my girlfriend sitting in a group, and the only time where I'm alone is when we all sit in quiet boxes. Even in his quiet box, I can hear his masculine, heavy breathing. Well, I tell you, boy, you're a comedian. You're funny. You're funny. Okay, I mean that in a good way. Okay, that's it. I just want to know your opinion. What can I do? Love you. Okay. He's gay. Okay. Or he's bi. Unless, okay, let's preface this. Unless I am so confused about European culture. Please, those of you who are European, maybe it's a cultural thing. I live on the other side of the world. I just live in a small town, Toronto, okay? Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. For those of you who are European, please explain to me, is this average behavior for a European man? We kiss other men and we put it on our story. Unless I'm super confused, okay? Right? I would surmise from this that he is either bi or he's gay. No problem with either of those. But I think that you're fighting a lost cause here. Because he might be interested in you and also guys as well. But I just don't think that for first of all, let's just like break this down into smaller bite-sized pieces. All right. If this was a girl that he put on his story kissing, you would assume that's either his girlfriend or a girl he's really serious about. So let's just say for the sake of argument that he's bi. All right. So he goes both ways. If that's the case and he's putting up a story of him kissing another guy, then that means that that's probably his man. Unless, I have no idea, how that goes, or I'm really confused, because if that was a girl that he posted on his story kissing, I think we would all assume that's the girl, that's his main, person, right? That's his woman. Or that's at least the person he's taking serious. So why are we not assuming that when it comes to him putting a story up of him kissing a guy? Okay? So that's like a whole part of this as well. because it's not like you just caught him doing that at a party. You actually saw him post a story of that on, or I'm assuming you're talking about a story on his own profile, right? Even if it was a story on someone else's profile, why would that other person be posting him and him on that other guy's profile of them kissing unless it was serious? So one way or another, the posting of the story of the kissing means that that relationship is fairly serious. In which case, you have to realize that you're on the back burner. He might smile at you when he's in the the library, but you have no idea what he's doing in his free time. And you talked earlier about, oh, he don't be going to parties. Well, we see why he don't be going to parties. He got his own party going on at his dormitory or at his apartment. Yeah, he got a party going on, all right. Yeah, for sure. He got a party going on. All right. That nice baby oil party going on, right? That Diddy parties, all right? Okay, nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying he got his own party, so he don't need your party. That's why you don't be seeing him outside. And this is where you have to then acknowledge, you started off your message, he's so amazing. He literally looks like a Disney prince, right? You literally said it. I'm not paraphrasing. He looks like a Disney prince. This is the problem. And this is kind of the learning lesson here. You don't know people until someone said med school freak offs. Please stop, chat. You're trying to make me laugh. You don't know people until you actually meet them for real, for real. Okay. And that doesn't mean that he's a bad guy. And it doesn't even mean that, maybe he might be interested in you. But what I will say is until he comes up to you and talks to you, you can't make the assumption that he's interested in you, because if he was that interested in you, he would come up to you and talk to you or have conversations. In all the times that you've seen him or caught him looking at you, staring at you, smiling at you, you would think at some point he would muster up the energy to come talk to you. He's bold enough to post himself kissing another man on his story, but not bold enough to just talk to you after seeing you in the library 25 times. That's not correlating to me. Okay, something's missing there for me. And obviously the other thing is, if he's posting someone on the story, he probably means that that's his person. In which case, why are you bothering yourself thinking about someone who clearly is claiming someone else? I think we would all assume posting someone, kissing someone on your story is claiming them. I don't know how we can not assume that that's claiming them. I just don't see how that's not the case. In which case, you have to say to yourself, if he wants me, he'll ask about me or come up to me. And for the most part, you should make the assumption that he's already in a relationship. I just don't see how we can not make that assumption with him posting that, okay? I get it. You see, this is why narratives can be so powerful. Because when you want to believe in a narrative, it's so hard to convince yourself that that narrative is untrue once you want it to be true, right? And you've convinced yourself that you want this narrative to be true, that he's amazing, that you've actually convinced yourself that him posting a story, this is like the twist of the century, of him kissing another guy on his story is nothing. Don't delude yourself like this. Don't bother yourself. Get back to your work. You're trying to become a doctor. You're in med school. Do your 5 years and move on, okay? I mean that. Don't lose focus or lose sight of why you're here. You're not here to fall in love. This isn't Love Island. This is med school. This isn't Grey's Anatomy. This isn't General Hospital. Get your focus back on your books. Stop thinking about this man who's kissing other guys on his story. I really mean that. All right. Let's go on to our next question here. All right. All right. Let's go on to our next question. We had one that I didn't do from Sis, aka Anna. So let's do this one. Okay, so Sis says, I know this is too soon to think about, but my boyfriend is Muslim and my parents are strict Christians that will never approve of me getting married to him. Oh boy. He says that he will eventually find a way, but I know his ways won't work. Because even if he does lie, eventually my parents will find out, because he has brothers with the names Ahmad and Ali, and his mom wears a hijab. I don't know what to do. I really love him and I don't want to break up, but I do eventually want to marry him. And I know my parents would never approve, and I don't want to lose my relationship with my parents. Plus, they are also paying for my med school. Oh boy. I know this is a difficult situation and you probably have no advice for me, but I thought I'd ask it anyways to see if you have any thoughts. Okay, so first things first. Okay. Religion's obviously a very touchy subject for everyone. Here's the thing though. What your parents want for you, what your family wants for you, your brothers, your sister, your best friend, it matters not what anyone wants for you or wants you to do more than what makes you happy. Okay? It's going to be a tough pill to swallow, but what you're going to have to do, and this is kind of how a lot of the stuff we talk about in the Polaris Club also can apply to life. You have to realize you can't think about anyone's happiness except for your own. Because when you make you happy first, the people who really love you and care about you will eventually jump on the bandwagon if they actually want to see you happy. And you have to resign yourself to the fact that when you make you happy, the people that love you, that truly love you and care for you, will still love you and care for you. And the people who aren't on that train with you, right, because they're upset with the decision you made, at the very least, you will still be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm happy with the decision I made for myself. Because the reality of it is, even if you were to, let's say, break up with him and be with someone else because you feel like, oh, well, my parents won't accept him if he's not Christian. At the end of the day, you're the one that's going to have to get married to the man. So if, let's say, you go and you marry a Christian man that you don't like as much, you don't mesh well with, or is just not your type because he's a Christian man, and you think your parents will like him, well, when your parents eventually pass away, right, and you're living with your man and you're having your own family, you want to know what you're going to be thinking? Damn, I wish I would have made a different decision. Because it's not my parents that have to be in a relationship with him and wake up unhappy and miserable every day. It's me that is waking up unhappy and miserable every day in my marriage. And I made this decision for people who aren't even here to govern or be proud or make comments on my life anymore. And so you have to realize that the most important person's happiness in your life will always be yours. And unfortunately, some people you love and care about might not agree with your version of happiness, but it honestly, as weird as it sounds, doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter simply because if your parents are willing to either disown you or tell you that they won't support you anymore because of who your boyfriend is, then you have to let that go. And let that go from the standpoint of you have to let go of your attachment to pleasing them and doing things solely for them and their happiness. Because when you do that, you will only grow to resent them eventually, because your whole life has been about making decisions for their happiness instead of yours. And one way or another, you end up having a broken relationship with your parents, whether it be because, you made a decision that they didn't want you to make and your relationship's a little bit shattered, or because you made the exact decision that they wanted you to make, right? And then eventually your relationship shatters because you now resent them for living your life for them. It's pain one way or another. But at least in one version of that pain, you get to look yourself in the mirror and say, at least I'm happy with my life and my decision. Okay? So I'm not going to tell you what to do or how to go about that, but just, food for thought there, because that is a very complex situation there. All right, let's go into our next, make sure I didn't skip any. Let's go into our next question here. Cece says, what if he texts you first every day? Do I not reply or mirror him? If a man texts you first every day, what do you need to do? If he's already texting you first every day, why would you be trying to beat him to text him first on some days? What's the point? When a guy's pursuing you, chat, okay? I'll answer this for CC and the rest of you. When a guy's pursuing you, just allow him to continue pursuing you. Don't put subconscious pressure on yourself to feel like, oh, if a guy's showing me that he likes me, I have to like somehow one up that or match his energy by like doing that back. Just let him continue to pursue you. So if he's texting you first every day and that's going on a consistent basis, just let that continue, okay? Don't have this pressure to make yourself feel like you got to start, like what, you're going to wake up earlier than him to send him a message before he gets a chance to wake up and send you a message? Like what? Like just stop. Let him pursue if he wants to pursue you, okay? Let's go on to our next one. Beautiful one asks a question here. Beautiful one says, how to handle jealous women in boyfriend's family. So Beautiful one says, I'm a 29-year-old female preparing to re-enter the dating scene. In the past relationships, I've faced resentment from women in my boyfriend's families, which often led to being the cause of the end of those relationships. That happened multiple times? Okay. I followed advice like the rules, waiting for men to approach, avoiding last minute dates, which has worked well for me. But those guidelines didn't cover everything. So I appreciate the advice on your channel. A reoccurring experience I've had is this. After I start dating someone, he introduces me to his family. They see how he acts with me and makes comments like, we've never seen him act like this. Then the accusations begin. I'm accused of witchcraft, manipulation, or opportunism, as if I need to be some kind of master manipulator to make men fall for me. No, maybe you're just a Players Club member. In the 3 serious relationships that this happened in, I've been made into a villain by my boyfriend's family, particularly the women. I'm not materialistic, so it's not about money. The resentment often stems from their discomfort at seeing a man treat a woman exponentially well. For example, I'd be helping his mom in the kitchen and he'd come back from the store with something special just for me. A gesture like bringing me a juice navel orange he knows I love, even if I haven't asked him for it. Small acts like these would lead to side eyes from his family members as if his attentiveness didn't wane over time. Okay. I'd be accused of having bad intentions or controlling him. Eventually, their families wore them down and they took their opinions to heart, which eventually led to our breakup. So this happened multiple times. Okay. Right. I'm a quiet, shy, and sensitive person. And back then, I don't know how to stand up for myself. I'm very wary of having this happen again since I have experienced it in every serious relationship. What can I do to avoid or handle this in the future? I'm Trinidadian and thought this might be partially cultural, as the 2 families were Caribbean too, but I also experienced it with an American family. Okay, so here's the thing. Jealousy exists in all forms of relationships. Sometimes people, well, I should say it like this. If, from a mother's perspective, you have to understand, for her son, she's spent his entire life having all of his attention, right? In terms of, woman and right, that's her son. Her son cares about her, does things for her. She loves her son. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Nothing weird about that. The transition of going from being a mother where your son loves you so much and does things for you and pays attention to you to like having your son transition to like all of his attention goes on another woman. For some people, for some mothers, that can be a little bit of a painful transition, especially if that change is very drastic. So sometimes there can be a little bit of jealousy of like, why, like my son used to love me and do things for me. Now, all of a sudden, he's bending over backwards and doing things that he would have never done for me. I know it sounds very weird, but sometimes depending on a man's relationship with his mother, there can be a little bit of a jealousy vibe there. where the mom doesn't appreciate her son showing another woman that much love, because they start to think to themselves, I birthed him. I took care of him. I, put clothes on his back and did everything I could for him, right? Sometimes, even in relationships, sometimes even single moms especially, they put so much of their blood, sweat, and tears into their child that when they now see their son grow up and are putting all of that energy into another woman that hasn't been there for them, like, the mother thinks that they have, it can kind of muster up some jealous feelings there, right? Because it's not a romantic relationship, but when they pour that much into another human being, they hate feeling like they're second place now to someone that just came along, right? So that's not really a reflection of you per se, as it is more a reflection of the relationship that those people have with their parents. And the reason I say that as well, too, is because you mentioned here that after taking in the opinions of their families, they would break up with you, which can also be a form of like maybe they were mother's boy, right? A mommy's boy. And in the process of being a mommy's boy, right, he wants to please his mother. When his mother disapproves of you, because he's such a mommy's boy, he now says, well, now I have to take a step back, right? Someone who's a little bit more secure in themselves and makes decisions for themselves, even if they say, oh, we don't like her for this reason, like her for that reason, they think to themselves, well, do I like her? That's what's the most important. So I think what's happening here is you're meeting a lot of the same types of men with very similar types of relationships to their families. Now, obviously, I'm void of a little bit of context. I don't want to blame it all on them. I'm void of a little bit of context in terms of, what are some of the things they might say is making them feel like, because accusing someone of witchcraft is quite a strange claim to make, right? Manipulation, I mean, sure, but witchcraft and opportunism, that's something where I would actually have to sit down with them and try and understand what made them say those things. Like, what are the examples or things that they saw that would lead them to, like, especially witchcraft is making me question why say that? What has she actually done, right? Unless they're noticing something very strange about your relationship with them. It just makes me want to ask more questions. But all in all, in terms of your question here and handling jealous, because you said jealous women in your boyfriend's family, that's a function of his relationship with his mother. And there's nothing you can do about that. If that mother feels like, oh, my child shouldn't love anyone more than me, and you try to kind of fight against that, what's going to end up happening is you're constantly going to be butting heads, trying to almost steal your man back from his mom. And you're going to feel like, well, I don't know if I matter more or his mom matters more. And it shouldn't be an argument of which is better and which is more and who deserves more attention. Because when a mother has a son and her son grows up to be an adult, it's not that she should stop mattering in her life, but then his life and his priority should be his family. Now, obviously, you guys aren't married, but there is a transition period where she has to be okay with him going off and building his own tribe, because he can't be at her hip for the rest of his life. It's just not a sustainable way to have a relationship, right? You can only have one woman in your life that you're in a romantic relationship with. And if your mom and your wife are competing for that attention or that spot in your life, you're gonna be at odds with your mother-in-law for forever. And so I think what needs to happen is you need to realize that it's a good thing that those relationships are over, because if you were to continue those relationships, you would continue to be butting heads with those mothers, and you'd be in a lot of pain in that way. Okay. And I don't want that for you whatsoever. All right. So that's actually a good thing that happens. And if you notice that happening again, you withdraw yourself again, because that's not something that will end magically. Okay. Let's do one more here, okay? So, Dream Manifestor says, getting them to plan the date. Trying to figure out the best way to navigate this. I keep finding these guys who want to chat on for days on the apps or text. So, I say to them that I would be happy to continue to get to know each other, but in person and not via text. Some the guys weed themselves out and I don't hear from them again. But the others will ask what days I'm available, confirm a day, but then wait until the day of or the day before to figure out where to go. So low to no effort. I'm not going to remind them of our date, but I'm curious if you have, so this is what you say to them. Sorry, I'm rereading this. So you say, I'm not going to remind them of the date. I'm curious if you have a date planned. What's the latest you'll wait to hear about? So you're asking me, what's the latest you'll wait to hear about time and location? Okay, I'll make this very simple for you, dream manifester. If a guy tells you he wants to go out on a date with you, okay, this shouldn't be super hard logic here. If a guy tells you that he wants to go out on a date with you, he wants to see you, great. You're going to say, cool, sure, I'd like that too. He then should be asking you, what day are you available? You let him know the days you're available. I'm available Wednesday afternoon, Saturday night, and, Tuesday at 5, whatever. In the process of you letting him know your free days, he's going to go through his own schedule, pick one of those days that works for him, and say, great, I'm also free on Saturday night. Do you want to go blank here? Or he might just say, let's go to blank here. Your response will then be, cool, sure, I'm good with that. I would love to do that. Done. Now, if a guy asks you for your availability and he doesn't plan the day, right? He doesn't actually plan the logistics. You just go about it as if he never actually planned anything. Because planning something is not just saying, oh, I would love to do that. Yeah, let's go out on a date on Friday. That's not actually planning. Planning is saying, okay, on Friday, November 25th, we're going to go to, this seafood restaurant at 9 p.m. Okay. I've booked us a reservation to go there. All right. And that's the time where we're going to go. That works for me. Does that work for you? Yes, that works for you. All right. We're going there. Then the days going on are just you having an understanding and preparing yourself mentally for the fact that you're going to go to the seafood restaurant on Friday, November 25th. Simple concept. If the man you're dating or seeing or talking to cannot do this simple logistical planning, right, from the very beginning, don't bother yourself. Because it's so simple that if he can't do it, you're going to be in pain the rest of the relationship, right? If he can't go from when are you available to finding a place to saying the time and confirming the time, that's just like you're dealing with the child at that point. And it shouldn't be, this is the very first date and we're already in a position where it's like pulling teeth. No, you can't. That's unsustainable, okay? You need to be in a position where this is easy from the standpoint of it shouldn't be that much work to get a first date. It's precisely why I tell you guys to avoid dating apps, because the guys who literally want super easy paths and they want you to plan, they want you to come to them, they want you to come and Netflix and chill, they all go on dating apps. Why? Because they get to sit at home in their nut-stained boxers, right? With their face unshaved, their hair a mess, no hairline, and they just get to swipe right and swipe left on girls that they never are planning to meet or have to do any work for, and they get to just never face rejection and hide behind their screen and only talk to the girls who want to talk to them. It's the path of least resistance. So you're going to end up meeting, the more you spend time on dating apps, you're going to realize all those men are usually seeking the path of least resistance, because that's the exact reason they get on the dating app, is for the least resistance. Getting up, even getting up, shaving your face, cutting your hair, putting on some nice clothes, not your nut-stained, boxers, and going out smelling good, looking good, having conversation, being charismatic, being interesting, buying a girl a drink, spending money. All of those things is so much more work than just laying in bed and swiping left and right. So you have to imagine even the aspect of going to the club to meet a girl is more work than staying in bed and swiping right and left on girls. So actually, ironically, you're going to meet more intentional men at the club. This is tragic these days. You're going to meet more intentional men at the club than you will at the club or bar than you will on the dating app. Because the men who are on the dating app, they don't even want to get out of bed to go meet women. They just want to sit on their phone and swipe left and right to meet women. 2024 is a messed up place. I'll be honest with you. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. The path of least resistance, like type of men, we call them microwave men, very dangerous because it's very hard for you to get anything out of them. I'm not saying go to the club. Someone said I don't drink though. I'm not saying go to the club or go to the bar to meet men. I'm just speaking to the fact that before, all the low quality men used to go to the club or the bar to meet women, because that was the only spot to meet women and maybe sleep with them that same night. Now, the lowest of low quality men, they go on the dating apps because it's even easier to meet women or talk to women that way. They don't even have to be rejected that way. They don't have to be charismatic that way. And we talked about that before. Please, for those of you who are on TikTok, even those of you on YouTube, after this show, go and type in my name on YouTube, type in Tomisin, and then type in dating apps. I did a whole live show for 2 hours where we broke down how the men are training other men on dating apps to use particular prompts, particular bios, particular pictures, in particular orders, and send you particular messages to get a response from you and to meet up with you and sleep with you. We actually went through the videos that they post on YouTube on how they're training each other to get the most responses and the most matches on Hinge, Bumble, and Tinder. Okay? And the purpose of that was to show you all how you're not even meeting the actual guy behind the profile. And the guys who have the best profiles are structuring it in a way where they're getting advice from each other on what works to attract the most amount of mates. But that doesn't mean that's necessarily representative of who that guy really is. Okay? All right, chat. That's the show for today. I don't want to get me started on dating apps. For those of you guys that have questions for me, feel free to ask your question in our, relationship advice Discord section, whether it be our premium relationship advice or the free one. If you want to put it in premium, make sure to donate to the show as well. And if you want to send me a private message, that link is also available in my bio on TikTok or my description on YouTube. All right. For those of you who want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just above my head on the top left corner of the screen, Tomisin_Atub. If you guys are on TikTok there and wanting to follow me, and it's also in the link in my description if you're on YouTube wanting to follow me as well. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to rewatch the show because you missed parts of the show, and you want to rewind it because you found some parts funny, you can always do that. Go to my YouTube page. It's just my name, Tomisin Atobatele. Type it in on YouTube. When you type in my name on YouTube, you go into the live section of my YouTube page, and then you'll be able to find this live stream along with all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. And you'll have the YouTube and TikTok live chat embedded in the video so you won't miss any of the conversation. Okay. For those of you wondering what times I'm on live every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, EST. So you're going to have to figure out what time that is in your time zone until we meet again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Goodbye for now. Arrivederci, adios, sayonara, ciao, salam. I said them all. Bon voyage! And I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay? Bye for now. I love you. I love you. So...